For me, a wall doesn't represent the end. I can climb the wall, I can go around the wall, I can dig under the wall. I don't have to try and bang my head against the wall all the time.
All today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You were made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is so amazing because our guest is Keren Gonen, and she is a top producer and broker manager at Realty Executives Vernon, known for her warmth, integrity, and people-first leadership. Originally from Israel, she built a thriving real estate career in Sussex County, New Jersey, where she's deeply rooted in the community. Keren is passionate about serving clients and mentoring agents, actively volunteers with local charities, fosters animals, and believes that environment plays a powerful role in happiness. She lives in Vernon with her husband and 2 children and loves the outdoor lifestyle Sussex County offers. Y'all, put your hands together for Keren Gonen.
Hello. Good morning, Renee.
Hello. It's so great to see you, Keren. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, well, when I first saw your bio, Keren, I was like, oh my gosh, what an overcomer. First of all, to come from a whole nother country, to get settled here, all what you must have experienced. I couldn't wait to learn more about your story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like making that transition, moving here, learning the ways. How was it different? What was it like?
So I came to the US when I was almost 14 years old. My parents had always been entrepreneurs, and we did move around a lot, even when I was a child. I think right now I'm at number 29 as far as living and moving. Yeah, I know.
Wow. That's a lot of moving.
It is, but my parents always raised us to look at things in a positive way. So that means that us moving was always an opportunity to meet new people, to get excited, to see things we've never seen before. So it was never presented as an obstacle. And I've raised my boys to be the same way, because we can't control what happens to us. We can only control how we react. And so it was always just rolling with the punches, just handling what you had to handle and doing it well, doing it in a kind, productive way. And that's why it's never really been a struggle for me. I love languages. So coming to the US, I did have some English knowledge already. In fact, my parents used to say that I'm American because I liked ketchup more than the normal Israeli.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny. And I love how your parents basically taught you about mindset from a very early age and the importance of mindset. Because literally, like, whatever you are going through, it's all in how you frame it. It's all in how you frame it in your mind. So this could be a wonderful experience because you're positive and optimistic about it, or it could be, drudgery and you go kicking and screaming because you're pessimistic about it. But if you stay hopeful about what the possibilities could be about this new adventure, I called it an adventure when I moved from Wisconsin to Georgia.
Sure it was.
It was an adventure, and everything that happened on the adventure was a part of the adventure.
Right. that's a great way to look at it, Renee. I think what people forget is that we grow through failure. We grow through experiences. If you're where you're meant to be, you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing, you're not trying new things, you don't have new ideas. So, everything that's happened to me in my life, I've always looked at an opportunity to grow instead of, why did this happen to me? Woe is me, I'm the victim. Excuse me. So I think it's all about the outlook and how you see things. Because again, we can't control what happens to us, only how we react to it.
That's right. 100%. I couldn't agree more. That is a great perspective, great attitude, and a great way to just deal with life, period. Because we can't change what happens to us, just how we respond. That's
Precisely.
the important thing. So I know you're now in real estate. Have you
Yes.
always been in real estate? And what prompted that move, if not?
Oh, that's a really nice story. So I've never even thought of real estate. I was in the shipping industry for over 20 years. The company was with my father, my sister, and I. And
Mm.
within 3 years, we actually became the third largest exporter to West Africa in
Oh,
the
wow.
entire United States. So I come from this family that's very entrepreneurial in
Mhm.
lifestyle. And so I did that for 20 years. Prior to that, I managed a liquor store, I managed a clothing store, I managed a restaurant. And in between my shipping industry experience and real estate, I also was a CEO of a beauty company out in Queens. And
Mm.
so I've always done sales, I've always done customer service. I actually got into real estate because of my husband. So I had left my job as a CEO. It was just taking too big of a toll on my children and I had to drive an hour and a half in each direction. I would come home by 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'd have about an hour because I'm very strict on sleeping for them as they're growing. And
Mhm.
so I would only have an hour with them. And the quality time that I had with them really didn't feel like I wanted to give my children. So I ended up leaving that position. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, came home one day and he had wanted to flip houses in Vernon, New Jersey. We were living in Ringwood at the time. And he was
Mm.
getting really frustrated because none of the agents were calling him back. He was looking at bank-owned properties, 30, 40, $50,000, very low prices.
Mhm.
And so no one was calling him back and he was very frustrated. So I said to him, you know what, I'm home. I had been home for just a couple of weeks at that point. And I said, I'm really good with follow-up because I've always been in business and let me take over. I have the ability, I have the time. I'm crazy with follow-up. I'm all
Mhm.
over that. And so let me take it off your plate because he was working at the time. And
Mhm.
so at that point, I started calling, texting, emailing, and nobody was getting back to me. And I was getting super frustrated because I've been in business. I know the only way to do business is to respond to text messages, to emails, to phone calls. Nobody was picking up. So I was getting very, very frustrated. And so I had taken over, and for 2 weeks, I tried to get him into a house that he wanted to buy, but no one was calling me back. And on a Thursday night, and I remember this like it was yesterday, I'm sitting at the dinner table and I'm complaining. Don't these people need to sell a house to make money? What the hell is wrong with them? Why aren't they picking me up? This is not, and I'm going on and on and on because I'm very frustrated. And so he looks at me and he says, why don't you just become an agent? And the light bulb went on, and I signed up for class that night. That following Monday, I started class, and a month later, I had my license, and that was almost 10 years ago.
Wow, that is so amazing. Congratulations. What a great story.
Yeah,
I mean, because really, isn't that what they say? Like, if you need something and no one is giving you what you need, that's an opportunity for you to create something. It's like an opportunity to make not only lemonade out of lemons, but to fill a gap that exists in an industry.
exactly. Right. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, when there's a wall in front of you, right? Something is going on, you need to do something different. What a lot of people do is they go back. They kind of recede. They don't know what to do. They just try doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome, which is literally the definition of insanity. Because if you're doing the same old thing all the time, you can't expect a different outcome because it's the same old thing. And so when he suggested that, I took that as a sign of, oh, here's my next step, because I had no idea what I was going to do. I
Right.
have plenty of skills, but I wasn't passionate about
Mhm.
anything. And so I took this as an opportunity to learn something new. I consider myself the eternal student. I can't even tell you how many books are in my house of different things that I read about and know about and am interested in. So I used it to propel myself forward and start a new career at age 38.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. That is so fantastic. And how resilient you were to the situation. You're like, this is not going to stop me. We are going to make some moves in here and we're going to do what we have to do. And so, did he end up getting the house that he wanted?
He did. He
Yeah.
bought a
Did you
house
sell it
for
to him?
no, because I wasn't licensed yet. And
Okay.
so he actually closed about 3 weeks before I got my license. So in Jersey, you do the class, you pass the state exam, and then someone has to pick up your license. And so it takes
Mm.
about a month to 2 months to finalize all those things. And at that point, he had already purchased the house.
Okay, I got you, got you. Well, that was a great stepping stone to get you here today to where
Definitely.
you
It
are.
was a good start.
Oh, for sure. And so, Karen, how would you say that your move from Israel to the US shapes how you connect with clients, or does it? It doesn't have any impact at all.
So I think it does, only because I deal with people that do come from other countries as well. When you have knowledge of a different language, I think for one, you're more patient with people.
Mhm.
My ability to speak to people with a very heavy accent does help me in my business. Plus, I understand on an intimate level all their struggles. And so I also know how to calm them down. I mean, in real estate, we're not just agents. We're the
Mhm.
psychologist, the marriage counselor, the pet sitter. We watch the kids because we don't want them running around through the houses. So we watch the kids as the parents are looking around. You're everything. You wear 101 different hats.
Right, right. Wow. So it's good to be flexible and nimble in these
Exactly.
situations. And
And
one
I
of
think it also allowed me to think outside the box, coming
the
from a different country. For me, a wall doesn't represent the end. I can climb the wall, I can go around the wall, I can dig under the wall. I don't have to try and bang my head against the wall all the time.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I was just visualizing as you were doing that. I was like, that's right. No, do not bang your head on the wall. There are many other ways of us saying there's more than one way to skin a cat. And
Exactly.
I don't mean any offense to cat lovers, but you know what I
I do.
mean. So, Karen, as we think about real estate, one of the things that I have learned, and just my brief understanding of the industry, is that there's a lot of collaboration that's required to be successful in the industry. So, how does collaboration improve the client and agent experience? How would you say?
So, if you mean collaboration between agents, every single
Mhm.
agent will tell you that it's the agents that close the deals, not the attorneys,
Mm.
because the attorneys, they're dealing with the legalities of the transaction. It's the
Mhm.
agents that actually speak between them and come up with solutions to problems.
Mm.
Obviously, our buyers and our sellers are financially invested, so they're very emotional about the transaction. And every agent has a job to do for their buyer or their seller, but it is their purpose to bring the transaction to a close. Obviously,
Right.
if it doesn't work with the first house, the second house, we keep going. My purpose when I do real estate is always to make sure that my clients are happy with the end result. If they don't like the house we're under contract for whatever inspection issues we're having and the seller is not willing to address them, we could get out and we could find something new, because all I want is for them to be happy. I believe in karma. And so it's super important to me that I do good and only good.
Right. And that's so important. And yeah, because and also when you're just nice and when you're kind and you're supportive of others, it just comes back. Like you said, I don't know if it's karma or if it's just, some people call it energy. Some people, it's just like a magnetism that draws people to you, that makes them want to do business with you because of your go-getterness. I don't know if that's a word, but
it is today.
Today it is. Driven, your determination. That's what matters. People recognize a good person and who is for them immediately. It's when you're authentic and you're so sincere, like you are.
Exactly. When you're genuine, people know. I mean, you can lie to people in their face, but at some point they'll realize that you don't mean what you say. And what I tell my agents all the time, and what I do in my business, I always treat people the way I would want to be treated. I kill them with kindness. So if an agent is unkind on the other side, I actually pity them. And that's what I teach my agents. If you want to close a transaction, if you want to do your job properly, kill them with kindness. Be ready to do your job and the other agent's job, because you want to do what's right for your client. That's your responsibility.
That's right. And so as you're doing that, because it takes some trust and teamwork to get that, first of all, for them to hear you when you say things like that. So how do you build trust and teamwork among the agents that you mentor?
So we actually have weekly meetings every Monday in the office. When they miss a meeting, they freak out. They always want to come in on Zoom or something else, because real estate is fluid. Sometimes things happen. You have a showing, not always able to join. But what I tell them all the time, I actually send them out together. So my team today is actually out in Philly, because one of them is flipping houses over there. So he took everybody with him, and he's teaching them how to do what he does. So it's more about teamwork. It's more about supporting. We have a WhatsApp chat where if somebody can't make it to a showing, he just puts a message on our chat and says, hey, can anybody cover me? I have a showing in whatever town. I'll pay you for your time. I don't need anybody doing any favors. This is a business. And so I tell them all the time, somehow you guys have to figure it out between all of you, who's getting paid, how much, and when. And when you put everything up front on paper, there are no hard feelings. There are no mishaps, because everything is out there in the open. And that's super important to me. I'm also very picky on who I bring into the office for that reason, because one bad apple can destroy my entire barrel.
That's right. That is so true. So where do you, and this is probably just a random question, and if it's none of my business, just say it's none of your business, but where do you find your agents? Because I mean, building a team is so critical, and having the right people on the team, oh my gosh, priceless. Like you just said, only one can mess up the whole thing. So,
Exactly.
where do you find them?
So I call agents if I have a deal with an agent that I enjoy working with. I just touch them every once in a while. And in the end, they end up coming to me. So one of my agents is the daughter of one of my top attorneys, because when she got her license, him and his wife didn't give her any options. They said, you're going to Keren. So she didn't even interview with anybody else. And so it's one. And funny thing is, most of them are either clients of mine or kids of clients of mine, because they saw how we work together. And they said, if I ever get into real estate, this is who I'm going to, because I like to teach people the right way. And I think that's one of the things that real estate is lacking. Agents are not taught to do their job properly. Yes, they're taught to do paperwork. Yes, they're taught to do their credits, to renew their licenses and all of that stuff. But what about being kind to each other? What about understanding that we all have a bad day every once in a while? So if I'm bringing only 20% to the table today because that's all I have, I need you to pick up the other 80 because we're in this together. And that's what I try to cultivate in my office, just the support for each other. And understanding that sometimes you need more support. Like I'll go on listing appointments with them. I went with one of my agents to $1 million listing that he wasn't sure he could get. We went together and the sellers were there and they were shocked that the broker showed up. It's his listing. It's all his volume, all his money, but I showed up. And that's what the seller needed to see, that this agent that he's hiring has the full support of their broker. And that's all I had to do. I didn't have to sell the agent. I didn't have to sell the brokerage. All I did is show up.
Wow. Wow. And that is so important. Just showing up. And when your team knows that you've got their back, they will climb mountains for you. And they will do whatever they have to because you've been there for them. That
Absolutely.
is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Now let's pivot a little bit into your volunteer work, because I know that you take that very seriously. So what's been the most rewarding part, though, of your volunteer and foster work? And tell us a little bit more about that.
I think the satisfaction that I get from helping others, there's really nothing like it. There's nothing else that I could do that I'll feel so satisfied with, because I know I helped someone else when they couldn't. Because I know I was there. I volunteer in my township. I'm on different committees. I was on more committees previously in past years, but things have shifted in my world. So I'm still on beautification committee at the township. I have my own networking group that I started with another co-founder 6 years ago. I'm part of BW Nice, which is a women's only networking organization. I do all these things because somebody's got to do it. So why not me?
I love that. I love that. And what a big heart you have for women and for beautification and for just making things nice. Because I'm sure in these areas, either whether you're selling or buying or has nothing to do with you, the where people live and how it looks matters. When people are driving down the street or coming to visit or whatever, you want them to see something nice before they get to your house. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's what I try to teach my agents, because it's not just about you. It's about what you're doing to others. And the business will always come. There's always energy in the air. It's always what you put out that makes sense on what comes back to you. And that's what I tried to explain to them. I was on the board of Sussex County for 7 years because I wanted to give back to the real estate community. After 7 years, I said, you know what? It's now time for me to focus on my home, on my children, on traveling, on doing a few different things with my life. And so I'm still part of Sussex County Association of Realtors, but not in a leadership role, because now it's time for me to focus on other things in my life, such as doing podcasts, because I enjoy that very much.
That's awesome. And so you've been a leader for a long time and leading in so many different ways. And so what have you learned about leading with integrity in such a competitive field?
So what I learned is that it's who you are that's going to make the sale, not anything else. So there isn't a single agent in Sussex County or New Jersey, for that matter, because I do work in 7 counties. There isn't one agent that could say, oh, she was awful to work with. I couldn't work with her. It's actually funny because a couple of my agents in my office had their offer accepted on my merit. The listing agent said to them, oh, you're part of Keren's office. I'm going to give you the deal and not the other offer. And so that just shows to the strength of who you are, because when agents know that you are ethical, you do have integrity, whether it's professional or personal, they want to work with you. I never yell at anyone. God forbid, I never curse anyone out, because that's not professional to me. I've been yelled at plenty of times, but I just let it roll off my shoulder, and I pity that person, because Maybe they had an awful day. Maybe they had a fight with their significant other. Maybe, God forbid, a child is sick or something to that event. So I'm very focused on just spreading good energy and love and light. And I really believe that's why he put me here, because this is my role. This is where I'm meant to be.
That's right. That's right. 100%. What a great example that you're setting for your team and for all of those around you. It's really wonderful. Now, as you're operating with integrity, treating people well, making a reputation for yourself of someone who truly cares about others, how do you balance top production with, because you're still in business.
Absolutely.
So how
I
do you
still have
balance?
to feed my children. I mean, they're teenagers. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. I know. I remember having teenage boys.
Ay, ay, ay.
And so how do you balance managing the work and keeping all of that mindful while you're still trying to make money?
So what I do is, for instance, when we make dinner together, the phone goes on silent. It's the 2 hours of the day where if I'm making dinner with my husband or with the boys, the phone's on silent. And when they ask me, why is the phone off? I tell them, I'm not a cardiologist. I just do real estate. No one's going to die if they have to wait an hour to talk to me. Absolutely no one's going to die. And I'm available to my clients from 5:30 in the morning when I get up until 9:30 at night when I turn into a pumpkin, because at that point I'm speaking in tongues. Like it doesn't make any sense. So I don't pick up the phone after that.
Wow.
But I
Wow.
balance it because, for instance, my son does track and he has a meet 2 hours away tomorrow morning. And so I blocked out that time because I love Google Calendar. I run my life by the calendar. And so, you know, and so it's just a block of time that I will think else. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And when something's important to me, I make sure I make time for it.
Right. And that's so important. And I love how you mentioned the calendar. I too live my life by my Google Calendar. And I mean, there's even appointments
Absolutely.
on there that say en route to this event. and then and then after the event, follow up from the event. They're all blocked together on both sides of the event.
And you have to, right? Like I'll tell people, if I set up a meeting with you and you do not receive a Google Calendar invite from me, we're not meeting. I could have sworn up and down that I was meeting you, but if there's no Google invite, forgive me. At 48, I am a bit forgetful. If you didn't get a Google invite, we're not meeting. Just
That's
very
right.
sorry. That's just how I am.
Hey, I get it. I get it. And I even have one little system where I have a prep for the meeting before the meeting, and then especially for like shows, and then my team helps me. And once it's confirmed, they'll change prep to confirmed so that I'll know this is a real thing that's really happening, and you really have to be there. So you have to show up.
That's brilliant, Renee. Absolutely brilliant.
I love that. Well, thank you. So I can't believe we're almost out of time for this show. The time has just flown so fast. Keren, tell us quickly, what core principles drive long-term success in real estate? What would you say if they're on the road to becoming the best agent ever? What do they have to always do?
They have to always remember that they're looking out for the other person first. They're looking out for their buyer, their seller, their tenant, or their landlord. Their well-being is more important than their own. And remember, we're all humans. It's nice to get a message from someone on a holiday, on a birthday, on an anniversary, or what I like to call house anniversary, which is what all my buyers get. It's just be intentional. Have intention in your business. Don't just fly in all the directions. Make sure you know who you are, and that's what you get across to your clients. They know that they're getting a professional because obviously you have a license. But what makes you special? What makes them want to work with you instead of somebody else? And how are you doing your follow-up with the buyers and sellers that you've completed transaction with? I can
Mm.
tell you one of my clients from 7 years ago just joined my beautification committee because she said, I'd love to do something for the township. And she reached out to me and said, how can I do this?
Wow. Wow.
Easy.
That's great. Yeah. So, so that is wonderful advice, and we want to know more, but we are out of time. So, how and where can our listeners learn more about you, your work, and community involvement?
So they can always find me on my cell phone. That number is 551-262-4062. They can also find me on social media. My handle is Keren Gonen Real Estate Broker on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I have a public profile. I love what I do. Everything is on there. I very often post photos of my house, actually, which is hashtag my slice of heaven, which you can see in that first video. I'm very blessed with the life that I have and everything that I've gained thanks to him. And so I always updated. There's always something going on. I'm always part of different committees and different charity events. It's really important to me as a person to give back. And obviously they can also find me on LinkedIn.
Nice. I love it. We're looking at your websites now, just kind of scrolling through. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Keren, for your time today. This has been so wonderful. I've enjoyed getting to know you better. Keren, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for having me.